Hey everyone, the Collector 27 here coming at you guys with another awesome action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Scarlet Witch from WandaVision from the Marvel Legends Disney Plus wave. Let's take a look. Alright, so for accessories, Wanda, or Scarlet Witch, she comes with two pairs of interchangeable hands, excuse me, and both sides are the exact same sculpt. So here we have the just regular kind of skin tone and glove hands with fingerless gloves. Let me put that back. And then we have, excuse me, the exact same sculpt for both left and right. And on this side we have the translucent hands with a non-translucent peg, which is kind of odd. So we'll get into that in a little bit when we talk more about the details. And then as for this, we get the magic effects, the chaos magic effects. They're a little bit more pink, which is kind of odd. At least that's how they're coming across under this bright LED light. So under all this lighting, they appear to be more pink, which looks a bit odd because obviously it's supposed to be more of a red, kind of burgundy, dark red color. And so we'll do a comparison between those and some of the effects we've seen with the previous Scarlet Witch figures. Because we have seen these multiple times with multiple different figures, whether it be in the color of flames or with Doctor Doom being green, and then here with the Scarlet Witch figures we see them in this what's supposed to be red but kind of comes off more as a pink. So let's bring the camera up, there we go, and bring that closer. We're going to put some of the hands on there and just show how they work, and then we're going to get into the details of the figure. So let's put, there you go. Let's put these hands on just because these are brand new. We haven't seen this before with a Scarlet Witch figure. We haven't seen this on her before, like this type of effect or this type of magic glowing hand. And so it is the exact same sculpt. Both of the hands are casted in the exact same sculpt, in the same position. I will say though that the red, less opaque and flesh tone hand is in a stiffer plastic. It's still soft, like it's not going to break right away, but ironically these kind of are in a more gummy like plastic, which is funny because they kind of look like candy in a way. They're in this translucent pink color. Again, they went with pink. I think a red would have been better. So there's that. But they look good, especially if you put the effects on there. Let's see. Oops. It's a little bit difficult. I've never really understood how these are supposed to work exactly. I kind of just, what I like to do is personally I like to have the larger portion kind of going out a little bit more, kind of like as if it's being shot out a little bit more, and then I kind of weave the thumb or the fingers through this kind of gap right here, and that tends to hold on pretty good. I don't know if there's an exact way this is supposed to be put on, but I find that to be pretty easy. It doesn't, see, if you shake it, it stays on pretty well. Anyway, so let's put on one of the regular hands, and since the regular hand came on the figure itself in the package, it is a little bit easier to pop on than the other hands with the effect, like the magic effect on them. So there we go. Let's put that on there. So there you go. So now you have her using her chaos magic, and let's get into the details of the suit. But just for the sake of symmetry, I'm gonna actually pop off this hand. I'm not gonna really display her. See, they're really tough to pop off and pop on and put them back and forth, and I feel like eventually that would kind of wear down the peg a bit. That's just my personal preference, so I'm gonna have her with these hands on, just because I don't really like the other ones. I'm glad we got them. I feel like for a Scarlet Witch figure, this amount of accessories was good. Just the effects and the interchangeable hands, I think that's a good amount of accessories considering the character doesn't really use any weapons. She uses, her magic and so on. So, but anyway, the one thing I don't like about these is the fact that the wrist peg is a different color. It's not translucent. I understand maybe they couldn't have cast it um, in this translucent plastic like they did with the hand. Um, but it's such a different plastic between the two that it's really noticeable even when it's in the socket. Just kind of when you bend it, it's just a little odd. I guess the magic effect, if you put it on that hand, it kind of hides it a bit more when you have it on there. But personally, out of preference, I'm going to keep my figure displayed with the regular hands and the magic flowing through them with these effects. So, just without cutting to any sort of next scene, I'm just going to review the overall details of this figure right now. So, obviously, I think I dropped it, but I'm going to get these out of the way. We've seen them before. Let me pull some from the other Scarlet Witch figure that I have from the Infinity War Wanda or Scarlet Witch and Vision 2-pack, and you can see that there is a bit of a color difference between the two. This is the one that came with the WandaVision Disney Plus Marvel Legends wave from 2021, and this is the effect that we got with the originally Toys R Us exclusive, but then they closed and now it became a GameStop exclusive 2-pack of Scarlet Witch and Vision. And personally, I think this one looks a lot better. So let's place this on the new Scarlet Witch figure. There we go. And let's place one of the newer effect pieces back on the Scarlet Witch right here. There we go. So on the left over here, or her right, we have the original effect pieces. Well, I guess not the original ones. The original ones that came with the Infinity War. There you go. We'll say, there you go. These effect pieces came with the Infinity War Scarlet Witch figure, and these effect pieces came with the Wanda, or Scarlet Witch figure from WandaVision, the one I'm holding right now. So, which one do you like better? Tell me in the comments section down below. Comment down below which one you like better. Do you like the red color or the more pink color? Personally, I like the red color better. This looks more accurate to the show and to the magic she had. So I'm surprised that, considering it's the exact same shape and effect piece that we've gone before, I'm surprised that Hasbro didn't cast this effect piece in the same color, because they're pink under lighting and it's a lot more noticeable under this LED lighting, and now I will never see them the same again. Anyway, so enough with those effect pieces. Get those out of here. Alright, for the articulation of this figure, let's start at the head. Obviously, I said it was on a dumbbell joint, but what's kind of neat is that there's a dumbbell joint, or a bit of a ball peg, at the bottom portion of the neck as well. So they're kind of doing what the G.I. Joe figures are doing. Hasbro, the Marvel Legends team, is kind of doing that, where there is a neck articulation at the bottom portion of the neck. Let's say, I don't know if you can really see that in there. And so I don't want to pop it out because it's kind of stuck in there pretty well, and I don't want to mess anything up or make anything too loose. But you can see the two lines of where the front of the neck should be. When I got mine out of package, it was kind of off center, and I thought that was really odd. So I decided to rotate it and found out that there was another area of articulation in the neck. But as for the head, even though it is on that ball peg and dumbbell joint system, and you get a lot of kind of this neck pivot going side to side, you don't get a lot of up or down motion really. That's the only downside about that. The arms will move out over 90 degrees, so move out about that far, and that goes the same on both sides of the figure itself. The elbows actually go in more than 90 degrees, so they go in about as much as if there were to be a double joint. So I think that that's really, really well done on Hasbro's part. So if we compare that to a previous Scarlet Witch action figure, this is again the one from Infinity War, her elbow didn't even make the 90 degree mark. So that was quite unfortunate that her elbow bend. Again, I know this is a different sculpt. She's wearing a jacket. That one's a lot thinner because she just has that sleeve part. But still, this didn't bend in more than 90 degrees. And so to see, it didn't even reach 90 degrees. There you go. So to see a female figure, mind you, having that elbow joint bend in more than 90 degrees, that's quite impressive. So for the hands, at least on this side, there's the up and down motion at the palm, going up and down like this, and then this one has a roll the dice motion on this side, and that goes the same for the power effect hands, or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, as for the ab crunch, or it has this kind of crunch and swivel because it's on a dumbbell joint again in there. Not sure if you can see that, but it will go forward about that far, which isn't very far, and you don't want to press it very much just because I guess that's one downside with figures, that there is a lot of gappage at the at that ab joint, and so if you bend it too far back, you'll see that much gap going forward, and you can actually see into the inside of the figure. I'm not sure if that's picking up on camera or not. But that goes for the back as well, and so that kind of scares me, just because even though that joint in there feels durable, it kind of has this rubbery feel to it, it still feels like it could be brittle and could break in the end. Like one wrong move, if you bend it too far back or forward, it could just snap, and that would be quite unfortunate for such a great figure. So I don't know why Hasbro did that exactly on their part, so not sure what that's about. Anyway, let's see. So if we go side to side, there we go. Yep, the ab joint will go side to side because it has this diaphragm cut. It's not really an ab crunch like we see with normal Marvel Legends. Mostly on the male figures, I believe we see that type of ab crunch, and on the female figures we see more of a like this diaphragm cut, or this diaphragm joint. So pretty good movement going side to side and back, but I would say that the forward motion doesn't go forward very much. So anyway, but one other thing, I guess I should have mentioned this in the detailed part, but this whole, I guess, like bottom corset, and I'm just gonna call this like a skirt piece, is all one piece, and it kind of tends to shift up and down and reveals this gap in the pant lining area, and I don't know if it was supposed to be glued down and mine's just moving around for whatever reason, and it's not, like it's missing the glue part, but I don't want to glue it down just because I feel like if you raise it up, it covers up that gap in the diaphragm cut and also gives more room for the legs. Let me know down in the comments below if you have this figure. Do you have this kind of, I don't want to call it an issue if it's intentional, but does your Scarlet Witch figure do that? Is that corset piece just moving around? Does that kind of move around on you? Let me know in the comments below. But anyway, the legs will move forward very high, actually, to meet that kind of 90-degree mark from the rest of her body. There is a double jointed knee, which goes in very, very far. She does have, I forgot to mention, she does have a upper thigh cut, which works very well. And at the ankles, her ankles will move up very, very far, actually, and will go down just about that much. I wish it went down just a little bit more, but that upward motion really makes up for it. And of course, she has wonderful ankle pivot. So let's get my final thoughts on this action figure. Let's have her stand up right there. There we go. Let's do some comparisons and final thoughts at the same time. Stay. Oops, there you go. See, having her stand on, trying to make her stay standing while looking through the camera is very difficult. Anyway, so let's bring in, once again, just because this is the only other Scarlet Witch figure that I have, also the only other one with a face scan technology on it, just because the Civil War version is kind of terrible. But anyway, so you kind of get to see the evolution of the two figures and even the evolution of Hasbro's technology, just between this figure to this figure, considering that this figure came out in about 2018, right? I have the one from GameStop. I found it in store, and so I bought it. I never found the one from Toys R Us, so but it's the exact same figure, exact same process that was used to make that one. So we're just going to say that this figure came out in 2018. So you get to see how much Hasbro has grown between the two figures. And in my opinion, this new Scarlet Witch figure is top notch. This is great. Like, even if like SH Figure Arts decides to make a WandaVision based Scarlet Witch, I would have trouble, putting myself in the position to get it, just because this figure fills that void. Like, I don't even feel a need for there to be an SH Figure Arts version just because of how good this is. I guess my only gripes with this figure, let's get this one out of the way. My only gripes with this figure would have been just the kind of sloppy paint job on the hand portions. Like, there's missing paint on the inside. It's not super noticeable, but it's still a little bothersome. And then on the outside, just some paint splotches here and there. But aside from that, all the line work is very, very clean. The head sculpt is beautiful and is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And then, obviously, I think it would have been nice if this was either a softer plastic or like a softer rubbery material, or if somehow there could have been cloth. I'm always a sucker for cloth capes and cloth cloaks and whatnot over plastic any day. So anyway, let's put that aside. I guess maybe one other thing that I wish it would have come with is like how Marvel Select is doing. Marvel Select is including the kind of cloak that she had at the end of the show when she's flying away. That was literally the only time we saw that. But it would have been kind of cool, I guess. Maybe that could have been cloth material incorporated into this wave. Anyway, let's bring in Vision from that Scarlet Witch and Vision 2-pack from Infinity War. There we go. Let's put them together. Come on. Come on, stand up. Stand. Okay, she's not standing. Let's see, she can stand. Looks good. There we go. And I think that scales very, very well. And she fell over again, but that's okay. These two look good together nonetheless, and I highly recommend this Scarlet Witch action figure, especially if you're a fan of Marvel in general, the MCU, Elizabeth Olsen, anything like that. But just because this figure is great, I highly, highly recommend this action figure. So if you see her out in the wild, get her. If you have her on pre-order, then you will definitely be looking forward to receiving this in the mail, just because this action figure is fantastic and very, very posable, considering it's a female action figure, and normally those are unfortunately not as posable in terms of like the elbow articulation and the ab crunch and all that. So I think that this figure is great. Highly recommend it. A 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Even with the paint flaws, the QC issues, and even with the kind of hindrance of that really tough plastic at the dress kind of skirt area, I still say that this action figure is a 10 out of 10. One thing I wanted to throw into this review towards the end was a little bit of a hack or a DIY or a how-to, whatever you want to call it, for posing your Scarlet Witch action figure. So this was if you guys wanted to pose your Scarlet Witch the way I had her in the beginning of this review in the thumbnail, reading the book or the Darkhold, whatever you want to have her reading, just how she did in the WandaVision show itself. At the end of the show, where she was reading in her astral projection form, and she was flipping through the pages of the Darkhold. So one thing you're going to need is a flight stand. That's something you'll need. I used an SH Figure Arts flight stand. I'm not sure exactly which figure this came with, or if it came with the figure, or if it was one of those packs with the stands. But I like using this type of clamp just because I feel like the smaller clamp is a little less visible when it comes to holding an action figure, if it's able to. Sometimes I have to use the larger ones if the action figure is a little bit heavier or bulkier, but for Scarlet Witch, I feel like she should be okay on this type of stand. Obviously, you're going to need a Marvel Legends Scarlet Witch from the Disney Plus wave from WandaVision. Depending on what time this comes out, who knows, maybe SH Figure Arts might release a version and it might work with an SH Figure Arts one too. But I'm just using this one just because this is the figure I have on hand at the moment, and it's the one I just reviewed. What you're also going to need is a book of some sort. So you can use a book that came with Marvel Legends action figure. Those seem to be a little bit heavier because they're just made with plastic. This one is made with paper, has actual pages. You're going to need, let's put Scarlet Witch down, there you go. You're going to need a little bendy wire of some sort. The thinner, the better, as long as it's still sturdy. And then you're going to need some poster putty or blue tack, whatever you want to use. You just use a good amount of it. And then you're just going to put that together. You're going to put it around, let's see, you're going to put it in the book. You're going to smush it together with this bendy wire right here. And then what you can do is you can just open it up to your liking as if the pages are being flipped through like that. And the one thing that I found good about the gap in this kind of ab crunch, diaphragm cut area is that if you wedge this in there, you could get that floating book look. So you just make a little like hook, and then you can just wedge that in there, and then you can just close it off by having her bend forward. You kind of just have to finesse with it a little bit, mess around with the book and itself, and there you go. Now you have a floating book. So from some angles, it's not going to be visible, and so you're just going to put it on the stand. Let's see, it's a little hard to do this on camera. There you go. Have her in the pose you'd like her to stay in, and boom, there you go. So, oops, my bad. Let's see, come on, there you go. So now you just give her that book in front of her, put her in the pose that you'd like her to be in, as if she's reading the book, and now you have that floating book, the Darkhold, or whatever book you'd like her to be reading. Let's see, there you go. So just pose her to your liking and put the magic effects there to how you'd want it to be. You could bring this up a little bit, bring it out a little bit, and now you have her floating with the book in front of her. And from the angle in front, it looks like she's flying and it looks like the book is floating too. So that is really cool. And I think that looks really neat. Let's see, there you go. So now you can have it like that. So I think that looks awesome. So then you could go like this. Nope, see, it's floating. Woo, wow, amazing, magic. But obviously from the side, it is just being held by that wire. So that is really cool. So if you guys end up doing this with your Scarlet Witch action figure, let me know. If you post a picture on Instagram, tag me in it at thecollector27. I'll put it up right here. Tag me in your photos, and I will go check them out. I'll go see what you guys do. Get creative with it. I'm not sure if anyone's done this before. I know that this is a little bit of a trick that people do with ACBA when they have those cutouts and stuff like that, but I wanted to try it with the book. And so I think that's really cool, and that is how I will have this figure posed on my shelf. So obviously a little bit more cleaned up, a little bit more refined, and in a certain angle with less of the stand being visible, but I thought that this would be cool for now. Just to show you guys real quick how I did that thumbnail and how I got the book to float in front of her. So hopefully you guys like this. I think it looks pretty good. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.